Hello, my name is Dimitri Calhoun. This is my major presentation project over interactive video conferencing. So what exactly is interactive video conferencing? Interactive video conferencing is connecting two or more sites via audio and video through the use of video conferencing equipment. Interactive video conferencing can be used to hold several events, such as conferences, meetings, classes, workshops, and one-on-one sessions. And a great example of an app that we use on a normal basis in the 21st century is Skype. Skype is a great example of interactive video conferencing. So, what are the types of interactive video conferencing? There are two primary types of video conferencing, and those are point-to-point and multi-point. So, what exactly is point-to-point? Point-to-point video conferencing is video conferencing in its simplest form and is used when only two sites are involved in a meeting or program. So, an example of a point-to-point video conference is you connecting to another person across the globe, just you and that other person. So that's two sites that are connected. Multi-point is video conferencing when more than two sites are involved. So if you are connected to two people and you guys are having a interactive video conference, that would be considered a multi-point because there are more than two sites involved in the conference. And I have provided the link that I used to research the types of interactive video conferencing. It provided great information about those two types of video conferencing, and a lot of useful information was in those articles. Equipment needed for interactive video conferencing. Of course, you need a camera or a webcam. You will need a monitor. You will need an external microphone, broadband internet connection, and web conferencing software. I think the most important thing to have a successful interactive video conference is great internet connection. It's very vital for you to have that great internet connection because you are talking to people across the globe. You know, even though you might be talking to someone that's not far away, you still need that great internet service so that the person you are having the conference with can see and hear you clearly. The web conferencing software is also very important because you need to have a program that will allow you to have this conference. And like I said before in the previous slide, Skype is a great example of a web conferencing software. Camera and webcam is also very important because the person that you are having the conference with has to see you and hear you, hence the external microphone. And the monitor is for your good so that you can see the person that you are communicating with via interactive video conference. So how is interactive video conferencing used in the classroom? There are several ways that one can use interactive video conferencing inside of the classroom. Doesn't matter what you teach. There is a use for IVC in all subject areas. So the first one is connecting with experts in the disciplines, taking virtual field trips with the students, working together with other students globally, and assessing previously unavailable courses. And this means, this was kind of interesting for me because I remember in my high school days, we didn't have Spanish offered at my class. There was no physical teacher for that class. However, we took what is known as CIB learning lab, and we were able to take a course with the teacher teaching us via a conference. So she was in Hot Springs, whereas we were in Warren, and we were able to be taught Spanish. And again, I've created a link at the bottom of this slide that takes you to a website that provides very useful information and great information for you to use inside of your classroom, no matter what subject you teach. Here's a video of how Skype is used in the classroom. I think you will really enjoy it. Interactive video conferencing inside the classroom of each discipline. So, as stated before, there are several uses for interactive video conferencing, no matter what the discipline is. For mathematics, the standard says distinguish between situations that can be modeled with linear functions and with exponential functions. A great way to make sure that this standard is met is by taking a virtual field trip with the students to an amusement park. Of course, the amusement park would be something that the students would love to go to physically rather than virtually. However, this virtual field trip to an amusement park will allow them to see real world examples of linear functions and exponential functions and the behaviors of those functions, such as a roller coaster might have an exponential graph that goes up exponentially or goes down exponentially. There's also, I'm sure, there's rides that have linear functions. They go up or go down at a constant rate. So this would be a great example of making sure that standards met is by allowing the students to see them in real world context. The literacy standard seeks to analyze how an author's choices concerning how to structure specific parts of a text contribute to its overall structure and meaning as well as the aesthetic impact. A great way to make sure that this standard is met is by possibly connecting with an author of a novel that the class has read. So instead of them just talking amongst themselves on, you know, their thoughts of the author's choices in the book, how it was written, and the overall structure of it, they can actually uh, communicate their thoughts and questions to the author who actually wrote it. So this is a great way for them to not only meet the author but gain interpersonal skills because they are communicating with one another and to the author. The science standard says research and evaluate science careers using the following criteria: educational requirements, salary, availability of jobs, and working conditions. So a great example of how this standard can be met is by actually connecting with an expert in the science field. So, a nurse, a doctor, a physical therapist, any kind of professional who works in the field of science would be a great tool to use to make sure that this standard is met. Uh, they can explain to the children all of these criteria and even more criteria of their job, and hopefully get students interested in obtaining jobs once they graduate high school in the field of science. The last standard for social studies, it says examine ways people have adapted to the physical environment over time. Example, technology, habitation, transportation, agriculture, and communication. And the most effective way that I can see this being met is by actually connecting to a class globally to let our students see the lifestyle of those who are the same age as them but have different locations. So just like in the video that I just showed, how the people in California connected to students in New Zealand, they allowed them to see how their school day is, what are their hobbies, what do they like to do, what is the how is their everyday life is. So this would be a great example again for this standard because it allows them to talk about these things such as technology, habitation, transportation, agriculture, communication, and they can get firsthand experience talking to students of their same age to see what exactly they do in regards to the examples mentioned in this standard. Advantages and disadvantages of interactive video conferencing. Advantages include no time constraints, dramatic time savings, easy communication, and increased productivity. So, interactive video conferencing, of course, saves much time because the time that you can use to travel to various places or to see various people, that time can be saved by easily conducting a interactive video conference with your party. Disadvantages include lack of personal interaction, technical problems, international time zones, and high cost of setup. So, of course, that interactive video conference, you're not able to actually see the person or see the place in person per se, physically. However, you can see them on the screen. This can be an advantage or disadvantage to some. uh, Technical problems. Internet problems arise sometimes at the most inconvenient times, but this would be probably the most disadvantage that I can think of in regards to interactive video conferencing because if you don't have um, a great internet setup, the chances of you having a successful interactive video conference is very slim. So, and you might run into time zone issues. So, it might be 8 o'clock a.m. here, whereas if you connect to someone in Hawaii, it could be much later or much earlier than the time here. So that's something to always keep in mind when it comes to interactive video conferencing. And this is my bibliography, which states all of my sources that I use to compile this PowerPoint. That is the end, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.